Okay. All right. So today is November 21st of 2024. Let's go over yesterday's price action as well as the outlook for today. Just looking at the news to see if there's anything. So today there was 0830 news and there is news at 10. So I won't be trading until exactly 10 unless I see a pretty good setup before 10, starting at the 950 macro. Um, nothing, nothing crazy as far as earnings, so I don't have to worry about that. So I do expect price to be very fluid today. Multiple trade opportunities. I'm going to expect. Um, but let's just check one more time. Yeah, 0830 and 10 o'clock. All right. So yesterday was went as I expected. Um, really, the only the only good trade yesterday was that draw to the from the London high to the sell side liquidities, um, and the, it was a pretty nice trade. It's something I would have taken if I would have been up at that time, and it happened during the 8 o'clock macro. SMT at these highs, SMT here, where NQ swept liquidity here. ES did not. Um, and then obviously it displaced lower here. So once it got down to this place right here, I kind of wanted to see price draw into these areas here. If I didn't see that, then I would not look to expect price to sweep these lows, and that's what happened. Price, even though it did displace through the 4 hour order block and that 4 hour gap, and still kind of closed towards the lows of that gap. I was not as sold because what I wanted to see is I wanted to see price close down here. The bodies of the candles is what was telling me where price was headed to. And again, I was not expecting price. I wanted to see price close in these areas here, then maybe get a retracement like it did here, and then continue on with the sell. But obviously that did not happen. And after that happened, like it did exactly as I had expected, which was it basically just consolidated. There really was no good entry, no good exit. But I did take a short, which is right here after price swept this buy side, this liquidity here, this little pool of liquidity here. After it swept drew into there, if you look at ES and NQ are basically the same, where it swept these highs here. YM though, YM did not sweep that high, so that in itself was SMT to me. And then once I saw that, I began looking for displacement, and that happened during the 12 o'clock macro. And like I said, what I wanted to see is I wanted to see a 5 minute swing high, swing low get drawn, and I started to notice that with this one here. And then I left, came back, and I saw another one here. And during this time, I saw that buy side liquidity was swept. Um, and then we had that displacement lower. So I had expected price to at least come down here, not down here, but at least sweep this low here. And I actually jumped in right here once I saw price retrace back into 50% of the range, which is premium up here, discount up here. So if you're looking to short, you always want to short at premium above 50% of the range. Discount, you never want to short at discount unless you're looking for continued expansion and the move is aggressive. So again, saw price retrace back into 50% within this gap here. When you're identifying a gap, the gap always has to be above 50% of the range. So this gap right here is within 50% of the range. Half of it is above 50. The other half is below 50. So this one could work, and it started to work. And so once I saw that, I saw displacement on the 5 minute, came back during the 1300 macro, and I actually saw the short opportunity right here once price displaced lower, and I jumped in right here. And I actually have the video here. Let's see real quick. But the one thing I didn't like about that trade is after I got into it, after I got into that trade, which was right here. Oh no, wait, did I start it too late? Yeah, I did. Damn. Uh, Actually, it was this one. Yep, this one right here. Okay, so after, wait, was it that one? Yeah, yeah, that was it. Okay, so once I saw price displace here, I I annotated buy side. I was I was expecting this to be an institutional order flow entry drill, but obviously it ran that high. And then once I saw that, obviously on the lower time frame, on the 1 minute, sell side was ran first, then buy side came to run it, and I notated this breaker block here, this order block here, and I had expected price to retrace back into 50% of the range. At this point, I started to get short, and this was at about what time was it around? Yeah, it was about 13:30, 13:01 for the 1300 macro, and I started to get short. And then once price ran up to here, I got short. So I got short about 5 points. And as you can see, that's me entering the orders there. Let's fast forward a little. And through this whole time, I just began to, what I wanted to see is an immediate draw lower. I did not want price to hold there, because the longer price holds, the less likely that price is going to move the way it does. And I've experienced that through multiple and just unlimited amounts of shorts and longs that I've taken. That when price fails, or after about 10 minutes, you kind of start getting that feeling. Listen to that feeling, because that feeling is telling you it's not going to work. It's not going to work. And obviously, it did end up working. Uh, and I had to wait. I think it was about a half hour. And here I notated this buy side. So what I wanted to see is after it ran this buy side, I wanted to see price close below it. And by this time, my stop was already up here. My stop was actually up here, but then I lowered my stop here. And as soon as price ran that high, actually I switched over to the 15-minute. As soon as price ran that high, I went ahead and just covered here on two of them, and then the rest I just took it out because I did not like that feeling, even though it did eventually run this low here. But it went again and ran this high here. But again, by this time it was already what? It was already 13:20, and I was just way too tired by that time, and I just went ahead and took my profit anyways. So small win, but nevertheless, a win is a win. A green day is better than no green day. So I'll go ahead and take that. But anyways, so uh, today I'm not so sure what price does today, because the last few days have been nothing but consolidation, right? It's been nothing but consolidation, but I am still uh, looking for bullish order flow. I'm still looking for the price to draw. I'm not going to say there's no bias. I'm still bullish biased. I'm still bullish biased because price is still in a predominantly bullish order flow on the daily, and the higher time frame is king. So you always listen to the higher time frame. So we are still within this unicorn here on both markets. We are still rejecting consequent encroachment of this big ass gap here. And here we started closing above consequent encroachment here. So that's pretty bullish sign to me, uh, because wicks do the damage, bodies tell the story. And the story right now is what it's telling me is that price is is still closing higher, except for NQ. Yesterday it closed lower, but still, it's still closing within this gap here. It did reject constant encroachment. So today I want to see how price traded over Asia and London. Um, so we have a unicorn on the daily, on the hourly. Actually, let's go over the 4 hour, but then I'll go over the 1 hour, what I see in the 1 hour. So on the 1 hour, we still held this gap here, even though we traded through it. We still, as you can see, this candle here, even though it closed below that, the next candle closed above it and closed above the high of this gap. So this turns into an inversion. So I want to see how price traded again overnight. So that's what the 4 hour is telling me. The 4 hour is still giving me uh, um, bullish signs, bullish price action signatures. So this gap here, the 4 hour, is still intact because it did not break this low. Once the three candles that make up uh, that gap, once that high or that low gets violated, that's when that gap ends because ceases to exist. Let's just say that. That's when you stop using that, and you either turn it into an inversion or you just delete it from your mind. On the 1 hour, just like we have on the 60 minute, I mean, on the 1 hour, just like we have on the daily, um, we have a unicorn as well. So we have a unicorn on the daily, and now we have a unicorn on the hourly, right? So what comes next would be the 5 minutes. So I may be just watching to see how the 5 minute works and stuff. So again, the same thing I want to see as always is during Asia, I want to see consolidation. During London, I want to see manipulation, and then New York expansion or distribution. Expansion is to the upside. Uh, um, Distribution is to the downside. So either way the market decides to draw into today, I will be looking for that because I do think today we do we do break out of this range. Yesterday, I did say that we have a head and shoulders type of pattern. That's a bearish sign. But again, I'm still bullish, so I'll look to see what price did that. The market always draws in four directions. The market is either looking for liquidity. The market is either running from liquidity to liquidity. The market is running from liquidity to imbalance, or from imbalance to liquidity, or from imbalance to imbalance. So those are the four stages, or not the four stages, the four reasons as to why price is moving and where price is moving to. And what I mean by that is these are imbalances. The highs and lows of each candle are liquidity. So here, after price, where was it actually? I think this was the previous week high. Yep, this is the previous week high. So here, previous week high. So what did the market do last week? It ran from liquidity above this previous week high to imbalance, which was this imbalance here. So that's what I'm talking about. That's how you look at how price and what stage they are in. What is price doing right now? Well, right now price is, yesterday it ran from imbalance, which was this 4 hour imbalance here, or 1 hour imbalance, and then it ran back into an imbalance because you can't see it, you can't really see it here, but if you zoom into the 1 hour, you can see that price held at this imbalance and then it drew back to an imbalance. So that's imbalance to imbalance. Liquidity to liquidity. Liquidity is when price takes out a high, a previous day high, and it runs towards a previous day low. So here in the morning, it ran this low and then it ran this high. So that's market running from liquidity to liquidity. Okay, so again, four types of price that price is always doing. So today, what am I looking for? I would like to see price run from imbalance to liquidity to the highs. Okay, on the 1 hour or the 4 hour, and then I'll see what price is doing. So let's go ahead and connect and see what price is doing right now, and we'll just come up with a plan. And on the daily, we did trade into discount here, so now we're at premium. So now again, if we are to draw higher, then I'll look to see what it's doing on the 4 and 1 hour PD arrays, whether it's at discount or premium. All right. Okay. Again, uh, we are still again. Damn, that happened already. Shit. All right. So on the daily, it held at. It ran from imbalance to liquidity. So now we're at this bigger imbalance, higher. Darn. We already met that. Okay, so I did not want to see this. What I wanted to see is I wanted to see maybe price be here, and then we get that move higher. But obviously, we did not get that. Instead, we already met the first objective, uh, which was the previous day high. So now, this previous day high is the second objective. Damn, I didn't want to see that. All right, so as on the 1 hour, we held this 4 hour, pretty bullish sign. We took out buy side after we took out sell side. This was the real sell side. Damn, should have noticed that because I noticed it the other day here. Actually, it was with this one right here after it took out this. So that's a mistake on my part for assuming it was here, but it was actually down here. Whatever, it's fine. Okay, so on the 4 hour, we already met the objective. On the daily, we already met the first objective. When the objective has already been taken, you want to continue to obviously look for a possible trade, but you want to be careful because at any moment it could reverse. I'm not saying it's going to because I'm still bullish. So now what I'm in the back of my head, I'm thinking, all right, so I want to see where the 4 hour closes. Does it close? All right, so does this 4 hour close like this 4 hour? Meaning after it runs the high, if it runs, because it already ran the high, does it close like this one? If it closes like this one, then that tells me that price may want to retrace. Okay, may want to retrace. I'm not saying it's going to run these lows, but what I'm saying is, does it want to retrace or does it want to just consolidate and then maybe continue to draw higher? So in the back of my head, I want to see what it does at 10 o'clock. At 10 o'clock, I'll be, I'm probably not gonna look at the 4 hour, but I'm gonna be thinking the 4 hour. I want to see where it closes. Does it close up here, or does it close down here? If it closes down here, then I'll expect maybe for a retracement, and I may look to trade maybe for a draw into 50% of the range, which would be from premium to discount. But as of right now, what I'm looking for the 4 hour to do is I want the 4 hour to close up here. Same thing with this one. I want the 4 hour to close up here. So let's go to the 60-minute. This is a beautiful unicorn. Yeah, beautiful unicorn. All right, and I'm 100% sure there's a 5-minute setup here. Yep, because right here, as you can see, it ran buy side, then came down into this area here. You could have went long here, but that's fine. Anyways, um, so the 4 hour, the 1 hour, we have nothing but displacement. I don't see anything telling me that price is going to come down. There's plenty of imbalances here. The more these imbalances are left open, the more I expect price to continue drawing higher. So again, as soon as 9:30 opens, I'll be looking to see whether price draws lower or higher. At this point right now, I do expect price to continue drawing higher. Um, so this previous day high right here, it's no longer a bag because if it were a bag, and a bag is short for a breakaway gap is when price reverses and then continues in the other direction. And that's what I had expected this to be on the daily, but obviously it reversed. So now this is no longer a bag, and I expect this previous gap to get filled. But again, this to me is the current objective right now because that's where price is headed to. Uh, and obviously, the other objective will be this new week opening gap, which just aligns with this previous day high as well. And like I always say, new week opening gaps are always a magnet to price. So what I mean by a new week opening gap is Friday when the market closes, and then Sunday where the market closes. If there's a gap, then notate that gap, because that's where the draw on liquidity is, and the life cycle of those gaps is 5 weeks. After 5 weeks, don't use them anymore. So it could act as a gap to price. There was a new week opening gap here somewhere, I believe, and it did draw into those areas. So and now it's drawing away from that new week opening gap. So again, on the 1 hour, I don't see anything. We do have this mitigation block. We have a mitigation block. This could be the order block you could use if price comes down into these areas. If there's a short opportunity, you use to short into these areas. But I'm not looking to short up here. I mean, we are obviously at premium, and whenever you want to short, you always short at premium and you cover a discount. But since order flow to me is bullish, I'm not looking to take a trade in the opposite direction. But if I were to anticipate a retracement, I would want to see price come down into these areas, or even here, even into this area, and then look to see how price draws after that. So again, uh, price is drawing towards the highs. No trade on the 4 hour or the 1 hour. Let's take a look at the 15 minute. Just like I was expecting yesterday, I want to see a swing high, swing low get drawn. So at this point right now, I am not looking to trade the. I'm not looking to trade maybe until the 11 o'clock macro or the 1300 macro, but I still need to see the 5 and 1 minute. So because the 10 o'clock news will have something, and if I see it, then I'll take it. Because oftentimes they do have some pretty good opportunities. So here on NQ on both ES and NQ. So whenever you're looking to get long or short, and you've already missed the reversal, you've already missed the move. The next move, if you're expecting continuation, see you want to see an order block get drawn, and then you want that order block to draw an imbalance, which is this right here. This imbalance, right? So now, if you zoom into the 5 minute, you'll probably see a stop run right here on the 5 minute after it ran this high here. So then, this is what I'm talking about. Price ran liquidity. So after it ran liquidity, what does it do? It came back into imbalance. So again, that's one of the four characteristics of what price is doing. It went from liquidity to imbalance, and then from imbalance to liquidity after it took these highs. So you have a stop run here, and you have discount premium, right? So now this could be an area where price decides to retrace back into and then draws higher. So I have that in mind right now. Same thing here. We had that stop run. So this could be an area where price decides to retrace back into and reverses. Again, it could be an area, but obviously not 100% sure. What I don't want to see is I don't want to see this high get swept just yet on either of them. Actually, let me rephrase that. On ES, since it's so close, that's fine. On NQ, I do not want to see that. Okay, if none of them ran previous day high just yet, then that's fine to me too, because then the objective will not have been met just yet, and you do expect to eventually get that objective ran. So if ES runs that high, that's fine, because I know that on NQ has yet to run that high, so I won't be looking to, so I will be looking for price to draw into these highs here. I'll take a look at this imbalance and see where price is headed to during the 10 o'clock macro. But I think on ES we run it as soon as the market opens. Let's take a look at the 5 minute. Okay, again, so right now on the 5 minute, we do have a unicorn right here. The same thing that I saw on the daily and the hourly, I am now seeing on the 5 minute. And when you trade the 1 hour, the time frames are always the same. When you trade on the hourly, it's always the daily, the hourly, and the 5 minute. When you trade on the 15 minute, it's always the 4 hour, the 15 minute, and the 1 minute. Okay, so right now we just ran buy side. So what you would want to see is I don't want to see price draw into this area just yet. I kind of want price to just maybe consolidate, then going into the 10 o'clock macro, get that quick draw into this area, and then I jump in with a stop. Uh, I would honestly like one of them to run 50%, the other one not. But if they both do, then I will probably jump in here with a stop right here because I'm expecting price to be very strong today. So I would not expect price to run this low here. And that would be about a 52 point stop here, about a 28 point stop. So well within my risk parameters. Here, about an 11 point stop, and up here about a 6 point stop. So still well within my parameters. But again, I do have to. I'm not going to just blindly jump in here. Now that I know that there's a unicorn here, I'll be watching the 1 minute to see what happens. And on the 1 minute is where I'll make my decision to see if I want to jump in or not. Because again, we just ran buy side. Now I want to see price draw into this area, and then the draw higher starts. Um, and we did have that 5 minute setup here as well. We have a 3 drive pattern, ran buy side here, came back down, ran sell side right here into this unicorn, and then we had that move higher. So that's what I'm looking for up here on the 1 minute. And we just ran buy side. So if we just continue to run buy side and then we get that flush down there, then I might look to take a trade there. If this one doesn't work, because this is my only idea, if this one doesn't work, then I'll most likely just close the charts down and come back at the 11 o'clock macro. Uh, but oftentimes I don't trade the 11 o'clock macro if we get a move like this, because you just need to give it enough time. If you don't give it enough time and you're not patient enough, then you won't see it. So if you give it about 2 hours, then it might work. It might not work. But we'll see how price works on YM. So YM, there is SMT between YM and ES, where YM did not sweep that high. Wait, oh, there it is. Okay, darn. Okay, so YM is drawing higher. No, it's not drawing higher. It actually just ran that low. Um, so there's no SMT just yet. I am looking for some sort of SMT. One of them, I don't know, might even run this low here. So I'm just gonna watch for now. I'm not gonna play the 930 macro. It's just when you're 30 minutes away from news, you don't want to be in a trade and then you get ran through during the 10 o'clock macro, because the 10 o'clock macro can be either, well, there's three things it could do. It could do nothing, or it could do a huge wick, and I've seen it done kind of like this one, but in a wider way, where it runs all of these lows and then you're stuck long here and then you get stopped out here. So I'm not looking for that. uh, there is SMT in the 15 minute. Okay, yeah, there is SMT in the 15 minute, but none of the two ran into 50% of the range. And again, that could have been the end. That could have been the end above 50%. One of them to me has to run into 50%. Because I've seen it plenty of times, and it's the strategy that works for me best. Um, So I'm not gonna take that trade. So again, right now, just watching. Actually, to keep myself from being impulsive, uh, that might have been the entry. Uh, no, I'm not gonna do it. I was about to take a trade there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna disconnect from data, and I'm just going to look at the 4 hour once again, just to make sure that yeah, just to make sure that I'm good with my technical analysis. So there is a gap here that could act as resistance, but it already ran through that. It's another gap here. I don't really, yeah, I don't foresee these as being too much of resistance. There is a new day opening gap here, new day opening gap. So just like this new week opening gap, there is a new day opening gap here. And as you can see here, it hasn't traded into. So again, I would like for ES to not run that high just yet. Going into the 10 o'clock macro, I would like for price to just consolidate where it's at right now. Let's take a look at the 60-minute. I should already take this out. Yeah, let's take it out because this is the current week low. Previous week low ran sell side, so we're drawing from liquidity on the weekly. We're drawing from liquidity to imbalance right now. Actually, on the daily. All right. Oh, that's what I meant to say. The market is always doing one of four things. There you go. Liquidity to liquidity, liquidity to imbalance, imbalance to liquidity, or imbalance to imbalance. There you go. The 4 hour, we have an imbalance here. We have an order block here. This is a propulsion block right here. Yeah, so this propulsion block, I don't expect price to come back down here. So yeah, I don't expect price to come back down into this area. And the reason why to me this is a propulsion block is because you have this initial change in state of delivery, order block, propulsion block, and on both occasions, when price tried to draw below it or trade it into it, on both occasions it failed to close below 50% of the range, and on both occasions it failed to close below 25% of the range. A real propulsion block will act as support and or resistance, and the stronger indication is when it obviously when it doesn't even close below it, but also when it closes above 25% of the range, which is right here, as you can see here, 25% of the range. So this is a propulsion block, and obviously you had that massive up move. So I don't expect price to come back down and down to this area. If it does, then I'm very wrong. Um, yeah, I don't expect price to come down here. That's why I'm still bullish biased. Uh, so I will be looking to see how price trades there. I got about 6 minutes until I allow myself to look at the market. Oh jeez. All right, I have to put on a sweater. um, let's see. Yeah, I don't foresee anything else. I can't see anything else in the market. Um, my relative lies up here. This is another gap like I said, I'm watching. Let's get my order window up. Okay. All right, gotta wait about 2 more minutes and then I'll get online. It's the waiting part of it. So when I gotta wait, I just go to YouTube and see what type of videos there are. Actually, no. I used to go to other traders, but I only do that now when after I get into a trade. And if they're in a trade in the opposite direction, the beauty of everything is that I don't let their decisions affect how I trade. So I stick to my trade. If I'm wrong, then that stop gets me stopped out. If they're right and I get stopped out, then it causes a little bit of pain, obviously, but I know that eventually I'll catch the right move and I'll make back what I lost. But again, it all has to do with my ability um, to accept that I'm wrong and to come back later on and try to catch the right move. And that's why again I stick um, to two losses, uh, and both losses have to the limit for the loss is 30 points uh, on NQ and 10 points on ES, depending 10 or 5 points on ES, depending on whether I'm trading minis or micros. So ES is the only one I'll trade micros in. I mean, minis in. Um, I don't trade minis in with NQ because that's $20 a point, and I'm not willing to put that much risk on a trade. You know, so so yeah, I only trade micros with NQ. So let's see here, a couple more seconds, and then I'll get on. All right, let's go ahead and jump in. Actually, I'll wait. Yeah, let's get in there. Actually, you know what? I'll wait until as much as I want to trade today. Um, I'll wait until uh, I'll wait until 9:50, and the reason why is because I don't want to trade until 10. Because even though the the setup might look good, again, that quick knee-jerk reaction as soon as those numbers come out at 10 o'clock exactly, there oftentimes there's an initial knee-jerk reaction where you get a crazy move and then it becomes a wick, and then let's say your stop was here, you're already long here, and you're expecting these lows to not get taken. And what happens? Those lows get taken, you get stopped out, and then you get that run higher. I have had that happen to me plenty of times, and I do not want that to be the case, or I try to ensure that that's no longer the case. So that's why I avoid that. And if I miss the move, then that's fine with me. I don't care if I miss a move, because now that price is headed that way, right? Now that price is headed that way, even though that objective gets taken, it doesn't mean you won't get a afternoon trade, because in the afternoon, what could literally happen is you get a move higher, and if price is going to continue to draw higher the next few days, what what's going to happen is you run these highs, then price decides to retrace a little bit, and then runs that high again. And then what does it do? After it runs that high, it comes back, retraces, and runs that low, and that's a perfect buy setup. And then your objective becomes 50% of that retracement, and then whatever highs were drawn that day, whether it's that new daily high, or maybe a high that had been drawn uh, during the retracement. So actually, let's go ahead and connect now, and let's see. So we're connecting now. Wow, okay. So we retraced lower than I had expected, but that's fine. On the daily, we closed above here. Here, we closed below it yesterday. Below it yesterday. What is the 4-hour doing? Again, in the back of my head, I'm still expecting price to close above here, or at least above this gap here. And here it already did. Let's take a look at the 60-minute. We retraced all the way into we retraced this whole imbalance here. So I'm not expecting this low to get swept. Take a look at the 15-minute. All right, so on the 15-minute, we have buy side swept, sell side swept. Same thing here, buy side swept, sell side swept. Good. We have between this high and this high here, we have relative equal highs. Down here, as you can see here, so my drawn liquidity is still higher. We are at 50% of the range, so that's a good sign. Okay, let's go back to the 60-minute. Let's draw this out real quick. Because once the 10 o'clock macro opens, I want to see how it reacts if it comes back down here. All right, so this gap right here, so there is SMT between this low and this low. So again, that's one thing I'm looking for. I'm looking for SMT. That's one of the signs for me to want to give it a shot here. So we have SMT and on the 50 on the 1 hour, 15-minute, not so much just yet. Let's take a look at the 5-minute. All right, so on the 5-minute, we have yet to close above here. So I can delete this. I can delete this and this. Okay, so we have this right here. I want to see price turn. I want to see this 5-minute turn into an inversion. So now you have the 1 hour, the 5-minute. It's actually this whole thing here. And we have 8 minutes until the news. We do have the breaker block, which has resistance right now. I'm actually bullish, so I won't. So even though I am bullish, in areas where I think price may look to reject that. So I could get short here, and my objective would be down here, the first low. But obviously, since there's SMT, I don't expect price to run these lows. So I'm gonna stick to my bias. I'm gonna stick to what I believe. And when you're looking for SMT, you're always looking for first stage SMT and second stage SMT. First stage SMT is always on the higher time frame, and second stage SMT is always on the lower time frame. So again, this right here is a 2022 model. So I'm sure a lot of people are short right here right now. And as you can see here, it's still, well, it opened here, ran into this high, but still closed below this breaker here. This one, I want to see how it closes. We still have 5 minutes until the release, so I'm not pushing any buttons just yet. Because I don't see it. The only way I'll start actually looking to maybe get short is if we run these lows and we close down here. Just like I wanted to see yesterday here on the 4 hour. I want to see price close down here. I don't want to see price consolidate like it did yesterday here. Again, I did take a short, but my objective was here. It wasn't down here because I did not expect price to come down here. Okay, so 15 minute looks like that, 5 minute looks like that. We closed above consequent encroachment here. We rejected consequent encroachment, so now we're drawing lower. Same thing here. So now I'm looking at the 1 minute because we have about 5 minutes left until that news comes out. So here, again, if this SMT holds, and I'm expecting this SMT to hold, I do not want to see price break this low. It can still break this low, but not this low. So the price action I'm expecting at 10 o'clock. There are a couple things, but the one I would very much like is I would like a quick sweep of this high, then a sweep of this low, and then we get that draw higher. But since we already technically swept buy side here, what I would like, the other thing I would expect to see is I'd expect a quick run of this low. If we run this low, but not this low, and then price reverses and starts drawing higher, I'll look for an inversion or some sort of order block or some sort of gap to get long at, and I'll be using whatever low is drawn at that time to as my stop, and that'll be the trade that I take for today. And if it's lost, then I most likely probably won't come back for the 11 o'clock macro, and I'll just let price just develop itself until it comes back for the and then come back for the 1300 macro. Like I said, there are probably a lot of people short right now, and this is during the 9 o'clock and the 10 o'clock macro. So it aligns, but that's not to say that it won't, because honestly, I would want price to already be down here. I don't want price to sit around and just be doing this. I would want to move like this. Oh, I forgot something on the 15 minute. Let's take a look real quick. So I'm gonna draw this right here. Now let's take a look at the 1 minute. All right, so a minute and a half left. Crap, I forgot about YM. What's YM doing? So there is also SMT on YM. Let's see, London, New York, London, New York Open. No, there is no SMT on either of them. Let's take a look at the hourly on OAM. 6. This was 6 o'clock. 6. 6. Yep. Okay, yeah. So ES is the only one that hasn't broken that hourly low. So that's why, to me, since I'm bullish, uh, that's the first sign I'm looking for. So the second sign now to me would be SMT on the 15-minute here. So we're about to get that news release. Let's get my orders ready. Okay. Kind of did run this low here, but again, that's SMT in the 1 minute, so I'm not looking at the 1 minute SMT. All right, here we go. All right, so I want to see a quick sweep. And right now, the only thing I see that could maybe possibly turn into an inversion would be the first gap right here. But since right now I do have this right here, this would be the first objective. I am mindful of how the 4-hour closed, pretty bearish. We were up here and the body obviously closed down here, so I'm mindful of that. But again, I am thinking about SMT down here. Looks like ES, it looks like NQ is going to sweep. Let's go back to the 15-minute because I think it just swept. All right, so right there, we just swept that low there. But I want to sweep, but I just want to make sure that I see where price is. Okay, so we just swept that 15-minute low on NQ. So now on ES, I would like to not see that sweep. But if it does, then we're still good because, again, I do not want to see price sweep this low. This low, it could still do so. But I still have the hour how it closed in the back of my head because that 4-hour, it closed pretty bearish, right? So that's why I don't want to. I'm not entering a trade until I see it, and right now I don't see it. I have prerequisites right now. I have things I'm writing down, and it looks like we are getting a tiny little bit of an opposing move, but still nothing. So whomever was short up here should be taking profit, and this would be the last objective. So I'll be watching to see how price closes down here. If it gets that sweep and we start closing below it with these types of bodies, then I would assume we continue to draw lower. But again, just like yesterday, we held at that daily unicorn. We're still holding at that hourly unicorn. So now this becomes an order block right here. And we have 6 minutes until the macro's over. So if it doesn't happen within the next 6 minutes, then I'll just close it up and come back. I like the candles that are forming right now. We have, well, never mind. I don't like how this one is might close. Nope, I don't like that either. Yeah, I really don't like the price action that I'm getting here. So yeah, not pulling the trigger or anything. The only thing I'm looking for is for that snap in liquidity. It's kind of like how do I explain it? It's kind of like in sports when things are going one way, you are seeing, excitement. Everybody's happy, everybody's celebrating, and then all of a sudden, with a snap of a finger, it just starts going the other way, and then all of a sudden, all of those faces just turn, they become frowns. Uh, so in terms of price, that's what I'm looking for, and I don't see it. And this would be London low, right? So because we may take London low, that's a pretty huge pool of liquidity. We're still within a unicorn. So yeah, again, I'm still, even though we have displacement and we have this pretty good setup here, I'm still bullish. I may be hard headed, but that's how I don't know, that's how I've had wins, and not taking a shot when obviously the setup is there. But if your bias is wrong, then don't take it. So we are drawing possible next order block, so that's why I bring this down now, but I have to wait until that candle closes. All right, so this is the last line of defense. If price just continues displacing lower, then obviously my bias is wrong. Then I'll expect the price to continue drawing lower. So last line of defense. Now I want to see. Now here is again, as you can see, look at how quick the ticks are going right now. They're just changing. That to me, it's kind of giving me some sort of signal. It's either going to continue drawing lower, or it's going to have that quick snap. There's still SMT, and now the SMT is even better because now you have where ES took out that London low. I mean, NQ took out that London low, but ES did not. And now again, this becomes that order block, and we have 2.5 minutes. If between now and the 2.5 minutes it doesn't happen, then I won't take it. And my first objective would be up here if I decide to get into a trade. Let's go to the 4 hour. It does look like head and shoulders, but obviously this shoulder is higher than this one, so it's not necessarily it. If this wick was not there, then this would be a perfect head and shoulders. You get the shoulder, you get the shoulder here, head, shoulder, and this is the neck. Whenever you get a head and shoulders, you always short after price breaks below the neck. All right, well, we're kind of drawing a wick there. Let's take a look at the 60-minute. yesterday price did trade below it, but look at the wicks. So if there's no setup there or right now, then come back at the 11 o'clock macro. I would like to see wicks, maybe the body up here, and then maybe I could get into a trade there. Let's take a look at the 1 minute now. Okay, I like how that candle closed, but again, I don't want to see price draw lower anymore. If it's going to happen, then it has to happen now. Otherwise, no trade. I have about 40 seconds left. What news is there tomorrow, actually? Because the schedule of the news always kind of gives me an insight as to how, as to whether if price is going to consolidate or just continue drawing. Nope, nothing. 9:45, so 10 o'clock is pretty open. I don't want price to close like this. 10 o'clock, so I'm gonna wait 2 more minutes. I want to see that snap. We have a tiny gap here. This could be a breakaway gap right here. I'm thinking about it right now because now we have change in state of delivery, price close above this order block, breakaway gap if it doesn't fill in that gap. But again, I want to see something, and I don't see it. .12. All right, so if it's going to happen, it's going to happen now. I don't want price to come back down. Otherwise, I'm just going to shut it off, and that'll be it. Ideally, I don't want to see price come down here. I want it to close up here. Five more seconds. Yep, I don't like how this closed. All right, I'm gonna call it there. I don't see anything. There's no reason to trade. My bias still remains, but oh wait. I see something. All right, I'm gonna jump in there. Yeah, I'm gonna jump in there. All right, so I'm in there. My stop is this low right here, 22.25. Let's set my stops right now. But it all has to do with how price closes the next few minutes. Okay, so again, my first target is up here. My second target is up here, and third target will be up here. I'm in with 5 contracts. There you go. Beautiful. So this, again, this to me is a breakaway gap. Mm. Actually, I'm going to take one at 10 points. I'm going to take one right now. Okay. So I just took one at 10 points. Um, my entry was, where was it at? Let's see here. My entry was at 29.25. So right here, there's a inversion gap right here. Stop is right here. All right. So this candle, what I want to see is if we draw a, this becomes an order block now. So if price draws back into these areas, it could fill this gap, and that's fine. It could fill this gap. And if it trades into this gap, I don't want it to trade all the way down here, because if it does, then I got to get out, because I don't like that. I want to see price maybe fill this gap a little bit, or fill it all, and maybe fill about 25% of this gap, right? But aside from that, I want price to continue closing above the bullish PD arrays. And the bullish PD arrays are, we have an order block here, right? Because before it rejected that order block and then it went lower. So this order block, what I want to see price do is I want to see price close above it, or actually violate it, and it just did. So now I'm looking at this gap right here. I want to see price close above it. Does it close above it? Right? So I want to see price close above it. I don't want to see price reject it. I want to see price close up here, because if it does, then my stop comes down to here, comes up to here, I mean, right? Um, Over the next few minutes, it could maybe just consolidate a little bit, but that's fine. Let's see here. Where's MES? So, 1 second. So this is the trade. I'm in here. Stop is down here. And again, I want to see price close above here. And if it does, then I'm bringing my stop up to either break even or maybe right down here, right? Because again, this gap could still fill, and that's fine with me. It could still fill and it could still come down here. But if it starts closing below here, then instead of waiting for it to come down here, I'm just going to close it. All right. And I'm not worried anymore because I already took off one contract. So that contract kind of takes away a little bit off the loss if I take a loss. So that's fine with me. So again, it just drew into that area. So now I'm just watching. We do have a tiny gap here. So at this point right now, I forget, I didn't notice this gap. So I would like for price to reverse here. So I'm still watching. Actually, my stop should be up here now. Yep, I'm going to bring it up to 26.50 now. 26.50, there it is. Okay, so yeah, my stop is at 26.50 now. As you can see here, we're closing above consequent encroachment. Right there. I don't like this void here that it's leaving. I would like for this void to close. So again, it violated this order block that acted as a pretty strong indication here. So I have this PD array that I'm watching, and I have this gap that I'm watching. Ideally, I would not like for price to come down here anymore, but now now that it looks like it's retracing, I would like to see my stop is now down here at 26.50 now. Technically speaking, I shouldn't be moving my what's the word? I shouldn't be moving my wait, let's check a look at the 15-minute real quick. All right, there's no SMT at the highs. There's only that gap. We drew into 50%. This one didn't. All right, so I am mindful that price right now is rejecting 50% of this range, right? But again, I want to see how price behaves here. I want to see price uh, close above. I want to see the bodies close above. So now we have this gap here. If price continues drawing higher, I want price to start closing above this gap now. Kind of bummed that I pushed the trigger a little too late. It's already 10:20, so if price doesn't work the way I want it to work, and we're still kind of doing this, then I'm just gonna call it. I don't like staying in a trade no more than 10-15 minutes. As long as it's doing what I expect it to do, then I'll stay in a trade for as long as I want. But if I see it doing things that I don't want to see, then I'll just call it, because again, there will be ample opportunities um, later on. Because if this is the low and price does continue to draw higher, then there will be opportunities later on. So what I'm going to do here is, in case it decides to reverse, I'm going to take one off up here if it draws up to these areas. So I'm going to take it off at 45.25. Again, this gap I'm paying attention to. I want price to close above this gap right here. It's not. About 10 more seconds. All right, I forgot this thing here. Damn, it didn't draw into 50%. It aligns with this gap here, so it could still do that. But my stop is now 26 right here. That's fine. All right, so as you can see here, it finally closed above it with this candle, right? So I'm still believing that price is drawing higher, but again, it still has to draw into 50% of this range here, on one of them at least. All right, it just did. So now I want to see an immediate draw higher. If it draws lower, then I'm gonna get stopped out. Okay, as you can see here, it closed below consequent encroachment. So I'm looking for this candle to immediately draw higher now. Actually, this is not the order block. This is the order block. Yep, I'm not liking that whatsoever. It drew into 50%. I'm really not liking that. I'm getting ready to take and get out now. So right now I'm thinking, do I get out or do I just wait for price to just draw into my stop? So I'm waiting for the close of that candle. All right, so I got stopped out. Again, my stop was right here, and I got stopped out. Now, this is where oftentimes we'll probably see that reversal happen. Um, and thankfully, it's not happening. Okay, good. All right. Okay. All right. So that's it for that trade. Didn't work out the way I wanted it to work. This reminds me of, wow, where is it? Which one was it? It was a couple of weeks ago. It looks exactly like that. It wasn't there. It wasn't there. Let's look at the 5 minute. Actually, it's easier. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Oh, right here. I was in long here. Took my stop here. I took my first contract off here, and I got stopped out because I had my stop here, but it didn't meet my first objective just yet. I just decided to take it off here, but this was my first objective. And when you enter a trade, never move your stop until that first objective is taken. And obviously, I got stopped out. My entry was actually right here. There was a breakaway gap down here as well, but obviously, right now we drew into that. We drew into it, and as you can see now, it looks to be maybe drawing higher. So so I think this is setting up for a 10 o'clock macro. I mean 11 o'clock macro where we are drawing. We now have a swing high on the 5 minute, swing low on the 5 minute, right? So on the 15 minute, what I'll be looking for, as long as this low does not get swept, that's first stage SMT. So I'll be looking for second stage SMT on the 15 minute, where one low is swept and one low is not swept on ES or NQ. And if that happens, then that I suspect the 11 o'clock macro, if price is going to reverse and continue to draw higher, I suspect that 11 o'clock macro to show its face. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today. I'll see you tomorrow. Almost forgot to take those sell limit orders. Oh wow, and I'm actually break even. So my stop, the initial profit that I took earlier, covered that loss because my entry was 29.25, my exit was 26.50, and the profit I took off earlier canceled that stop, canceled that loss. So I'm back to break even. So I'm still within that loss parameter, so I can still allow myself to have two losses. This one I'll call a win because obviously the displacement happened, but it didn't happen in the way that I had expected it to happen. So yeah, that's it. See you tomorrow.